Listen, let me tell you a story. So 25 years ago, I promised myself that when I retired from working, it would be to some dinky, anonymous little town on the Andaman coast of Thailand. A week ago, I came here to Turtle Beach, my dinky, anonymous town on the Andaman coast of Thailand. And if I have my way, I will stay here the rest of my life. And that's my story.
Have you ever thought that 2 eyes is just one too many? Well, with new and improved pipes hung at eye level, your days of binocular vision are over. Invest a mere moment of your inattention and let pipes hung at eye level make that pesky parallax view disappear. Brought to you by the good folks who made Unexpected Trip Hazard. Unexpected Trip Hazard, breaking ankles since we came down from the trees.
So one week on Turtle Beach, a town so small all the dogs look alike. We have 3 Buddhist temples. We have a Chinese Taoist temple. We have a Catholic church, very tiny. And we have a mosque. What else have we got? I mean, we've got a big C and a lotus, if that's your thing. We've got a weekly a fresh market, if that's your thing. We've got we've got 1 store that sells motorcycles. We've got 15 places that fix motorcycles. And we've got about 100 places that'll sell you a cheap plastic motorcycle helmet if the cops happen to be out today ticketing people for not wearing a helmet. That's the only thing I have seen the police do in a week that I've been here. Other than that, they stay home, I guess. Nobody locks their doors in this town. We don't have any homeless people that I can see. There's no trash in the streets. In the hot season, people don't even close their doors, and it's always hot. You know what we don't have? We don't have any massage parlors. No, you, massage, welcome. Nobody has called me a handsome man since I got here. I find that I miss that just a little bit. There's no bars. You can buy alcohol almost everywhere in a bottle and take it home, or take it to the beach, or take it to the alley, I suppose. But there are no licensed public establishments that I have found so far. There's a couple, places for locals where young women sit on a plastic chair outside an anonymous doorway at night. There's that. But other than that, there's no motorcycles for rent. There's no bicycles for rent. There's no postcards being sold. Very little of the signage is in English. And people react to my presence. About 1 in 5 will give me a big smile. About 1 in 5 will look at me distrustfully. What's he doing here? And the other 3 kind of glance at me and glance away. There's that, right? But there's a reaction everywhere I go. What we also have is 13 kilometers of unspoiled beach. Beautiful white sand. This time of year, it's rainy season, so there's, a lot of plastic and crap on the beach. But 13 kilometers straight as an arrow of undeveloped beach. No hotels, no surf shops, no reggae bars, nothing, because it's a turtle sanctuary. For millions of years, turtles have been coming to Turtle Beach to lay eggs. And once every year, there's a turtle festival, which I've never seen, and it's in November. I hope to see that. But one reason the turtles like to come here is because it's very deep offshore. It drops off immediately, and they feel safe in deep water when they're coming and going, so they pick beaches that have a steep drop-off. That's also what protected this place in the tsunami of 2004. A tsunami needs shallow water, and we don't have that here. It's very deep offshore here. So the tsunami here was just a bloop, and that was it. They didn't lose a single mango tree. This beach, I think, is charmed. It's special. You know, they say when Ulysses retired from the sea, he put an oar over his shoulder, an oar to row a boat, right? And he walked inland. And the first place where somebody said, "What is that?" That's where he stopped and retired. My mother tells a joke about the same thing. She says when she left Iowa, she strapped a snow shovel to the hood of her car and she drove south until the first place somebody pointed at the snow shovel and said, "What is that?" And that's where she retired. For me, it was Farang. I wanted a place where people react to Farang, you know, and say, "Oh, what is that?" That walking snow shovel, that walking boat oar, what is that? And I found it here. I had to train myself, my first few days here, to relax. It had been 7 weeks since I retired, but those weeks were full of driving across the United States, disposing of all my possessions, saying goodbye to everybody in my life, everybody I loved. A lot of travel, a lot of airplanes, a lot of airports, a lot of buses to finally get to Turtle Beach. And when I got here, I woke up and I thought, I've got to do something. I'm supposed to do something. There's an appointment, right? There's a schedule. There's a to-do list. I've got to be doing something. What am I doing? I'm supposed to be doing? And it took a couple of days of sitting on the roof of the Lay Lady Lay coffee shop, drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes, and calming down before I was ready, I think, to be a resident of Turtle Beach. First few days here I spent at a place called the Maison de Casa House, boutique hotel. I was the only guest. They've had, I think, 10 guests in 2.5 years. You know, Turtle Beach was never much of a tourist destination to begin with. There was some Thai tourism. Thais came here a lot, but nobody's had any money to spend that way for 2.5 years. So the economy has been fairly depressed. So this very nice, very well-appointed, very comfortable boutique hotel has gone virtually empty for 2.5 years. And there's a woman, the only staff is a housekeeper named Kunt Gao. And Kunt Gao was the head of housekeeping for a big hotel in Phuket. She had started there when she was 17 as just a novice housekeeper. She had worked her way up through decades to become head of housekeeping for a 400-room resort with 100 employees working underneath her. And she sort of retired to Turtle Beach, where she comes from, and she took the job being housekeeper at the Maison de Casa House Boutique Hotel. And she's been doing that for 4 years. In the last 2.5 years, she's been virtually alone on the property every day. And she keeps it neat as a pin. There is not a speck of dust in that place. Everything polished to a high gloss, everything swept, fresh flowers everywhere that she grows herself in the garden out back. It's just an absolutely gorgeous place. Now the foundation of the thing is raised about 6 feet above street level. I don't know if that's for pollution or noise or to keep out the riffraff, but for whatever reason, the whole thing, the lobby of this thing, which is an open sala like anywhere in Thailand, is raised 6 feet off the street. So in the evenings before she leaves, Kunt Gao will go stand on that platform of concrete looking out over the street, the main street of Turtle Beach. And she'll fold her arms. She'll either lean on her mop or she'll throw her dusting rag over her shoulder and fold her arms, and she'll stand there and look down the street and look up the street like a captain on the deck of her ship, on the bridge. She's master of everything she surveys. And what she surveys, let's see, there's a really good Isan restaurant. There's a Krung Thai bank with 3 ATMs. Three in a pokey little town where nobody's got 2 baht to their name. 3 ATMs. There's a coffee kiosk that is open maybe once every 3 or 4 days. There's a little Chinese grocery, and there's an alleyway. And that's what is across the street from the Maison de Casa house. And that's what she looks at every single day. It's ritual at the end of her day. And now there are people coming in the temple, so I have to shut up. So 1 week on Turtle Beach. This week I met a guy here on Turtle Beach. His name's Theo, and he's a Dutch guy. He was a forest monk for 12 years in Thailand, living in caves for 3 months out of every year. You know, the monks go in the rainy season, they have to go be alone somewhere, and he would pick a cave in the jungle and live in a cave. This Dutch guy. And after 12 years, he disrobed. And he came here to Turtle Beach because in his wanderings as a forest monk, he had passed through Turtle Beach and he liked it. And much like me, he decided to retire from Buddhism here. And he's been here 18 years now on Turtle Beach. Virtually the only Farang on Turtle Beach until I got here. And I asked him, he's a fascinating guy. He's just an absolutely fascinating guy, full of wonderful stories, which is odd considering, you know, he spent his whole life doing the same thing over and over and over again. But I asked him, why did you disrobe? Why did you leave the monkhood? He said a better question is, why did I stay in as long as I did? He said, you achieve a point where you have achieved as much enlightenment as you're going to achieve in this lifetime. And from then on, you're just repeating things over and over. And he said, I stayed in because I was afraid to leave the monkhood. And I said, what do you mean you were afraid? He said, well, you know, a lot of monks who've been in 20, 30, 40 years, they stay in because they're afraid to leave, because the monkhood doesn't train you for anything in the outside world. You don't leave the monkhood with a certificate in bricklaying or welding or plumbing. He said that all you know how to do is meditate, and you do that very, very well, but nobody's going to pay you for that. He said a lot of monks leave the monkhood and end up on the streets. Either that, or before they leave, they amass vast fortunes of money, because monks have a lot of money. The church, any church, anywhere, has a ton of money. And he said either that or you become a bad monk and you start amassing money for your retirement. He said, I didn't want to do that. He said, after 12 years, I left the monkhood with a t-shirt and a pair of Levi's and a pair of underwear that had been given to me and a pair of flip-flops, and that was it. That's what I left with after 12 years. He said there's a reason that the room a monk lives in is called a cell. So of course I was thinking about, you know, I've been pissing and moaning for 8 years because I spend every day, I go to work, I come home, I make dinner, I eat dinner with my mother, I wash the dishes, and then Mom and I sit there and watch Wheel of Fortune until bedtime. And that's what I have done every single day for the last 8 years. And I wanted to get out of it really, really bad. I wanted to get out of it so bad that I went all the way to a dinky little anonymous town on the Andaman coast to get away from that. And lo and behold, the first and so far only Farang I've met here did the same thing. He escaped. He escaped the humdrum. He escaped the routine. He escaped the expected. And here we are, me and Teo on Turtle Beach. You know, it's amazing to me, and I asked him about this. Every little dinky Thai town you go to has got 3 or 4 temples, and they're all lavish. They're all huge. There's constant construction going on any temple you visit. Huge icons, gold leaf everywhere. I mean, they're very wealthy. And I asked him, why does one little pokey town on the Andaman coast need 3 watts? And he said, well, you know, because virtually every member of the community is going to be a member of a Wat. And you have to make merit every day if you're devout. So they get tons and tons of offerings, and particularly food, which they then sell, because the monks in residence can't eat all that food. It's a sin to waste food. So they either give it away or they sell it. So there's a ton of money. So you have to constantly be spending this money. And of course, neighborhood rivalries, family rivalries. This neighborhood wants to have a bigger icon. This neighborhood wants to have a bigger stupa. This neighborhood wants to have a more learned monk in residence. So there's all this competition going on between the temples. And I thought, competition between Buddhist temples. Who knew? Who knew? But it reminded me of a story that my grandfather told at my cousin Joel's rehearsal dinner before his wedding. So it seems there was this old Jewish man who was stranded on a desert island for 20 years. And finally, after 20 years, a boat comes and sees him, and they pick him up. And the captain of the boat notices that there are 2 structures on this deserted spit of sand in the middle of the vast ocean. This old man has built 2 structures out of driftwood and rocks and coral and seashells, one at either end of this island. And the captain asks the old man, why does one old man need 2 houses? And the old man says, those aren't houses, those are synagogues. The captain says, why does one old man need 2 synagogues? Well, this one over here, this synagogue I go every Shabbos to worship God. This is where to go for bar mitzvahs, this is where to go for weddings, this is where I go for funerals, this is where every important event in my life takes place. That one over there, those bums, I wouldn't set foot in that place if you paid me. So it's not just Buddhism, right? I guess there's competition in every faith. So that's 1 week on Turtle Beach. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you for listening.
Man, it is hot in Thailand. I am prickly heat all over. Wish there was a product that could fix that. Oh yeah, Snake brand baby powder. Oh yeah, been there, done that. Reacted just that way. Snake brand baby powder. It's the cure for the Farang spotty butt syndrome. Get some today.